the front line of 2020. It looks different depending on where you live.
When I knew that I was actually homeless,
and what you've been through.
that was like the worst feeling.
Just more than a week ago, Lake Charles, Louisiana took another blow.
It just looks like something that just a bomb went off.
Hurricane Delta ripping open scars left by Hurricane Laura less than 2 months ago.
As far as rebuilding, we will, because we've done it before.
This week, we introduce you to the frontline workers across the country.
A picture's never going to show you how much pain these fires are causing.
Taking on adversity in a pandemic and most challenging of years. This is The Race. Welcome to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart. The challenges of this year will continue long after 2020 here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Mother Nature destroyed homes and changed the landscape of this town. And that's making the work of those on the front lines of this pandemic even more essential.
I felt like I'd come to a third world country when we came back.
In the debris that still litters Lake Charles. Elementary school art teacher Pam Abshire
Being very careful.
is searching for lessons.
I like to do an art project with my kids, so this is something they can hang on to. And never in a million years I would have thought those windows would have blown out.
This year has proven Mother Nature knows how to challenge those who live in places like the Gulf Coast.
We have tens of thousands of Louisianans today who are hurting.
Just more than a week ago, Hurricane Delta brought flooding, wind, and more pain to those like Pam, still trying to clean up after Category 4 Hurricane Laura changed the Lake Charles landscape in August.
Lake Charles has been demolished. I mean, there's no better way to put it.
The pain is personal for Dr. Tyson Green. Hurricane Laura left his home unlivable.
As soon as I pulled up and I saw that, one side of my house was completely blown in and, the garage doors had been blown out.
While his family evacuated before that storm, he stayed behind to be with his patients.
As a physician, you're worried about the patients that you just did surgery on. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to end up?
Dr. Green doesn't know where his family of 6 will call home next.
Every day you're finding something new. Whether it's with insurance, you got to submit this, you got to do this, but at the same time your job doesn't stop. We go back to work immediately.
Right now he's raising thousands of dollars for the nurses and staff still fighting on the front lines of the pandemic, who lost everything in the storms.
What happens when the dust settles and we're not talking about it anymore? Luckily, we missed all the damage and debris that were flying in. Provided, toilet paper, essentials, meat, cleaning supplies, and etc. But it hit us financially pretty bad.
Like many business owners this year, for Jason Michalski, the pandemic has been a fight. Hurricane Laura knocked his power out for a month. His lights are now back on. But for many others here, they'll stay dark.
A lot of businesses that are local staples are just gone.
The people of Lake Charles may wonder why Mother Nature chose them.
You just trust in God that He's going to take care of things.
But for those still sifting through the rubble, rebuilding is less about why and more about what you can learn on the journey to recovery.
Picking up the pieces and going forward. So that's what we're going to do.
When frontline workers are on the job, who watches the kids? It's a problem many parents are struggling to solve, but Alexa Liaco found a group that's stepping up to the plate.
Let's go back and try from the very beginning again.
45. It may not be a hospital, but these essential workers are on the front lines.
Sit down.
Teaching children while schools are shut down.
I still can hear it.
And relieving parents who can't work from home.
I'm trying to add them up to one of these.
So I'm happy that we can stay open for those parents who have nowhere else to go, nowhere else to turn to.
Parents like Lorraine Filomeno.
Oh, grab your staff.
The single mother of 5 is also an essential worker. She helps families sign up for unemployment benefits and financial assistance.
As we are out in the community, we deal with people every day, but we're also parents.
When schools closed, Lorraine needed some help herself, figuring out how to balance work and her kids' remote learning.
My employer wasn't going to wait for me. Was I going to have to get on unemployment? I had seen people come into our office and start asking for applications and being worried, and they couldn't get through the phone lines, and I said, was that going to be me?
She reached out to the daycare her daughters went to for after-school care and found the teachers were ready to help.
If it wasn't for childcare like Boingos, I don't know what I would have done.
Before COVID-19 hit, this area was just an after-school playground, but you can see it's now been turned into a distance learning classroom for dozens of students. And all these students are in different grades at different schools across the area, and the teachers here help them with any problems they have.
What are we going to do to figure out the other numbers?
Now you need to add those up.
The Boingos Academy Preschool got a waiver from the state to take on 60 extra elementary school students for all-day distance learning, and spots filled up almost instantly.
They need somebody there with them at the computer. Some of these kids can't even read yet, let alone find the link that you're telling them to find.
But this relief comes with a cost. For Lorraine, keeping the career she loves and paying for childcare meant training for a second job.
Without a second income, I cannot afford to have childcare for 40 hours a week for 3 children. I know that there was resources out there for me that if I needed them, cash aid, food stamps, but you know, as I've worked for over 25 years, I had gotten off of those assistants.
Now she's worried, like so many parents in her shoes, that COVID-19 will erase her years of financial stability.
At times I wanted to give up as a parent and say, I'm done with working, I can't afford this. But you look at your children and you say, I gotta get back together, myself together, I gotta get going.
The fight to keep going felt by the essential workers and students alike.
You know how to do this.
But these teachers won't give up, and these parents can't give up.
As a single parent, you kind of don't have a choice. You have to just either make it or you break it.
Because they're working for a future only these children can dream up. For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacco.
A group of volunteers is making sure firefighters who lost their homes to wildfires have a place to stay. We're there for the life-changing surprise. Next.